Hello, I'm Chance.
I'm Sergio.
And this is Brick Wall Cinema.
Welcome to the party, pal!
Oh my God.
That's your home! Are you too good for your home? Answer me! I'm a peacock! You gotta let me fly!
Have you ever met a person you say, hey, let me get some parfait? They say, hell no, I don't like no parfait.
How's that for a slice of fried gold?
Welcome to Brick Wall Cinema, everyone. And today we're talking about the 2008 epic. It is epic, Sergio, because it is big. It's a big deal. Tropic Thunder. And for those who don't know what Tropic Thunder is, Tropic Thunder was I just said it. How am I going to do this? How am I going to open it? Okay.
2008, right?
Huh?
It came out in 2008.
Yeah, it came out. So let's go with the basic info. The movie came out 2008 on August 13th, directed by Ben Stiller, rated R, with a runtime of an hour and 47 minutes and a budget of $92 million, and it grossed $195 million worldwide. If that's not a hit, I don't know what is. Probably something with a bigger budget and more money that came back in the box office. But anyway, let's go into Rotten Tomatoes score. Critics loved it with the 82%, and audiences love it with the 71%. And this movie stars Ben Stiller as Tugg Speedman, Jack Black as Jeff Portnoy, Robert Downey Jr. as Kirk Lazarus, Steve Coogan as Damien Cockburn, Jay Baruchel as Kevin Sandusky, Brandon T. Jackson as Al Pacino, and Matthew McConaughey as Rick the Peck, and Tom Cruise as Les Grossman. And now, Sergio, you want to get into the synopsis?
Yeah.
All right. Tugg Speedman, pampered action movie star, sets out for Southeast Asia to take part in the biggest, most expensive war movie produced. But soon after filming begins, he and his co-stars, Oscar winner Kirk Lazarus and comic Jeff Portnoy, and the rest of the crew must become real soldiers when fighting breaks out in that part of the jungle. So, what do you want to start off first with, Sergio?
Our impressions.
Yeah, let's go to first impressions. You go first.
This movie, I remember watching it way back when, and it is still one of my favorite comedies. Back then, I didn't really understand too much of what was happening, so it was a real shock, and it felt like a big twist when Robert Downey Jr., his character, started to break down and to go different characters. That was interesting. But overall, this is one of the funniest movies I've seen.
Yeah, man, this movie is so good. People always say this movie cannot be made by nowadays. I'm going to have this hot take. It probably could, but not in the same way you think it might.
Maybe.
Yeah, all that matters with this movie is context. Once you understand why some stuff's happening, then it makes more sense, so you'll be more open to it. I'd say this
to me, it feels like this is the end. You know, that movie with Craig and James Franco and Seth Rogen.
Yeah,
it feels like that.
Oh, because of the real actors doing things that are sort of fictionalized in that world.
Yeah,
I can see that. And funny enough, let's talk about casting for this movie because there's a couple of things I want to bring up. So initially, Ben Stiller wasn't supposed to play Tugg Speedman. They originally wanted Keanu Reeves.
I could see that.
Me too.
Mostly because of the fact the previews, which start off at the beginning of the movie, which honestly probably confused a lot of people because they looked really legit, like really like B-tier movies that you would actually see a previews for.
Yeah, imagine going to the theater. Like, this is one of my movies I always want to see in theaters because imagine going to see this movie without seeing any trailers for this movie before you go see it in theaters. And first thing you see is this guy rapping about how much he loves and selling booty sweat to you and busting nut bars. And
then all of a sudden you see all these sequels to movies that are said to be big hits and you have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah. And by accident, I didn't know anything about this and saw a trailer for like Scorcher 4. I would have thought, oh, they're doing a Leonard Part 6. Again, if you don't know what that is, Sergio, back in the 80s, Bill Cosby made a movie called Leonard Part 6 where the joke was he's a spy. It's a spy comedy, but the joke is that all the adventures already happened in their different parts of the movies. But this, yeah.
So it's kind of like, it reminds me a lot of John Wick, where all this stuff has already happened. It's just them going back into it.
Yes.
Okay.
But that movie sucked. It bombed. No one likes it. It's considered one of the worst movies ever.
Yeah.
And even with
one thing I found funny about the previews is that for all the actors, they used like their characters' names, and I found it funny that the other actors who are also in the previews, like Tobey Maguire, they use their actual names. I found that funny.
Yeah, because it was funny because like sometimes you couldn't tell what was going on until you saw the characters. But like, oh, I see what you're doing here. It's like sort of train of thought when you see it. Because even when my nitpicky brain was watching the opening again, and with the Universal logo and like different logos for different studios, yeah, they look legit, but they're not. If you can tell, there's small differences in the logo. Like tell that's not the actual studio's logo. It is really, really small detail. It's a really small detail. Really, because for DreamWorks and New Line, I saw it looks like the same. DreamWorks is real because DreamWorks made
I know.
the movie.
I'm saying yes, I know. They used the real studio logos to actually use in the previews, saying that they're making these movies.
Not the Universal one though. That one's different. You didn't notice that?
No, I noticed that. I'm saying that New Line and DreamWorks were the ones that were actually real ones because that was the companies that were making this movie.
No, they weren't. New Line didn't make this movie.
New Line didn't make this movie?
No. They're only there for the fatties. That was it. Because New Line, funny. I'm thinking of like they had to have thought about what studio will make what movie. They had to have because New Line Cinema, they made like the Friday movies. They made Rush Hour. So they're good with making action comedies or sometimes flat out comedies. Mm-hmm. Universal does like the action. Around this time they're doing like The Last Witch Hunter or like Riddick or Fast and Furious. So I can see why they make like the franchise movies. And Fox Searchlight Pictures, they're like the indie award-winning movies. So it makes sense why they have that one for the Kirk Lazarus Satan's Alley movie. And that was actually the last one, yeah. And so I was also watching this movie thinking what the characters were trying to be like, what their model was, like who they based off the characters. We already know like Ben Stiller, he based his character off of a young Sylvester Stallone. Kirk Lazarus, he based his character off Russell Crowe because like around this time this movie came out, he was going around beating people up, flipping off cameras all naked while drinking. So like, okay, we can see that resemblance. And Jack Black, they said he based his character off Chris Farley. Oh my God, sir, you didn't know who Chris Farley is?
I don't think so.
Oh man, you missed out. He's one of the funniest people on SNL. He was. He passed away now. But like he has one of the best bits on there about SNL saying a man on a van down by the river. You never heard of it?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I've seen a few. I've seen a bunch of the SNL skits, but I don't think I've seen that one.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Now let's get started by letting me give you a little bit of a scenario of what my life is all about. First off, I am 35 years old. I am divorced, and I live in a van down by the river. Well, I'm here to tell you that you're probably going to find out as you go out there that you're not going to amount to jack squat. Young lady, what do you want to do with your life?
I want to live in a van down by the river.
Well, you'll have plenty of time to live in a van down by the river when you're living in a van down by the river.
There you go, Sergio. He was also in a lot of movies too. He was in Tommy Boy, Beverly Hills Ninja, and Black Sheep, just to name a few. Oh, he was also in, what's it called? The Adam Sandler movie, Billy Madison. He was a bus driver. Wait, did you see Billy Madison?
I don't think so.
Oh my God. Anyway, that was a little Chris Farley tangent we got there. So we'll go back to talk about Tropic Thunder and the characters that people are portraying. We got Ben Stiller, we got Jack Black, we got Robert Downey Jr. Wait, no, we did get Robert Downey Jr.
I was wondering, as this movie went on, I was curious and thinking there was something like Blazing Saddles. Was this a satire of real world like documentaries on war?
Yes. Not really documentaries, but like just the industry as a whole.
Biographies.
Yeah, like
biographics.
Ben Stiller had the idea of making this movie when he was working on the movie Empire by the Sun. Remember that movie?
Nope.
It was a Spielberg movie where a kid was trapped. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. So yeah, he had the idea a while ago in 1987. It was a war movie. And he had the idea of saying, how come what if we have a movie about these actors that have to go through so much shit while making movies? Like while making war movies specifically, because with making war movies, people usually go into training, go to boot camps, fake boot camps really, just to get the character right.
And this one, they just like put a bunch of actors and try to make them act like as if they're in a war zone.
Yes.
I noticed that a lot when they really delve deep into stereotypes into the characters. Like Jack Black's character, like he's always talking like in synonyms. Is that what you call it?
Jack Black?
Yeah, his character. Remember how he's talking throughout the movie?
No.
You don't remember? He's like,
Well, I didn't really think about how he talked. I just really just knew about his story, like him being addicted to coke and stuff like that, and trying to get that.
well, yeah, I was paying attention to how all these characters were talking, and it was interesting to see them talk because that's how these are the kinds of like character archetypes you see in these kind of movies. They really went heavy into the stereotype,
Yeah, you're right about
like
that.
how Al Pacino was from Brooklyn, and how Jay Baruchel. Jay Baruchel. I don't know how to say his name. Baruchel. He was like this rookie that was panicking all over the place.
Well,
and was always nervous.
Well, his background is that he was just working on commercials and just living off residuals.
No, that's what I mean. That was his character too. The character was always like on edge because this is his first time in the war.
And he was the
He's
only
a
one that
rookie,
went to
whereas-
training.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, I also noticed that when they were in the opening shots of the jungle, when they were flying around in the helicopters, a lot of the jungle reminded me of Kong Skull Island. Basically when they fly in front of the mountain, that shot reminded me of Kong.
Well, I can see why, because when he made Kong Skull Island, it took place in the 70s around the Vietnam era. So, and they're also referencing Apocalypse Now with certain shots. So I think you might have seen the after, like
Also,
the reference.
Did David Leitch work on this movie?
No, funny enough, he did not.
I was thinking because a lot of these scenes actually reminded me of stuff that was actually in Fall Guy, like the war scene where they do somersaults and it blows up and there's an explosion behind them. And they do a flip into mud.
Right, and like all that. I honestly, it's crazy to think that Ben Stiller, he directed this, and yeah, it always catches me off guard because when you think of a newcomer director, like, no, I mean, he's not really a newcomer. He's sort of been working, but just no one really calls him out on it. Like said, like it's Ben Stiller. The only movies I know he directed were The Cable Guy, which by far really underrated movie. That might be a stay tuned, Sergio. We might watch that for the show. No, I made that. No, actually, no, we are watching it for the show. And Zoolander. Those are the only ones I know by heart that he made.
Makes sense. Those feel like a side where he plays like an over what do you call it? Erratic character or aesthetic character.
Right. Even in Cable Guy, he's not even in the movie. He's only there for like a shot and that's it. Like a criminal on TV. It's like Jim Carrey and Matthew Broderick. He's like Jim Carrey's like an over obsessed like he's like, you're my friend, right? You're hang out with me, right? It's like, yeah, sure. And now he gets really obsessive over him. It's a dark comedy.
I also noticed like two of the funniest characters I noticed in this movie were Tom Cruise and Danny McBride.
You like Danny McBride in this?
Oh yeah.
I remember I'm shocked by that because I know because for the longest time you didn't know who he was. You always didn't know if whoever mentioned his name, you say, who was that again? So you finally remember his name. Awesome.
Yeah, I do remember his name. I remember him from Angry Birds. I remember him from this Aloha, I think. I also remember him from Meet the Mitch from Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Right. You know, so he also co-wrote the Halloween reboot movies. Not the reboots, but like the legacy sequels, the 2018 and 19 and 21 movies.
I'm not sure if I'm too familiar with that. We'll have to rewatch that.
The first one was good, but the other one's anyway. But he had one of my favorite lines. His favorite quote was,
Mother Nature just pissed her pantsuit!
I found it funny when he was scrambling with the detonators, and he was talking with the native people, and he was like,
I need some dudes up here who speak American, goddamn. He's making a fucking sweater back here. I'm trying to put Tiger Bomb on this jungle's nuts.
Jesus, Sergio. I guess we're going to close now.
Yeah, and then he said like, that's C4. I need a detonator. Get that out of here.
So I guess we're going to favorite quotes now. So I got a couple of them. First one is when Bester was talking to Kirk Lazarus saying,
I believe you people.
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean, you people?
How did they do that, by the way? Robert Downey Jr., he had to, like, how did he change the color of his skin?
makeup.
Oh, that was really good makeup because they covered almost his entire body. Or maybe they just covered out the rest of his body and just did his face.
Probably. He did so good in this movie, though.
True. A lot of these actors, I did not expect to do these kinds of roles because based on their careers, they've done a lot of serious kind of roles, and it was really interesting to see them in these erratic kind of comedy-like roles.
Yeah, because even with Jack Black, the only reason he was hesitating doing this role is because he didn't want to dye his hair white or blonde.
Yeah, his hair was blonde.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why he didn't want to do the role.
I found it funny when he was being interviewed for this, and he bit off the microphone foam and he spit it back. He's like,
let me tell you something. A lot of people disrespecting me. They say that the movie is just about farts. It's about family. And you can't do what I
do. Like, you don't see the...
I like that they foreshadow basically all the problems with the actors as the movie progresses.
Yeah, even with him trying to get the sneak a little coconut, like eat some, you just see Jay Brown come back and like, hey, will you make it out? Yeah, oh, it's jelly beans. We're just jelly beans. I want some. No, you can't have any jelly beans.
Get your own jelly beans, man. God. Then he kills a bat for it.
I thought that was an Ozzy Osbourne reference. Because you know Ozzy Osbourne, right?
I don't think so. It sounds familiar, but I'm not sure.
He sung the song Crazy Train.
Oh.
There's rumors that he actually bit off a bat during a concert.
Damn.
Yeah, I remember there's a bit on Family Guy where they're trying to make everything safe and make a joke saying, what if Ozzy Osbourne didn't eat a bat? And he's like, well, I'm already tired of eating a bat. Somebody else gonna eat this sandwich. Oh, no. Oh, I'm really crazy. Yeah.
I remember that from Family Guy where he's like, I'm gonna eat the sandwich.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Sorry, I didn't recognize it.
You just laughed at it though.
Anyway, I do have one nitpick though.
What's up?
When the director that was filming steps on a landmine and then he blows up, that was the quietest landmine I've ever heard.
Because it can't be too loud because it'll literally it'll scare the shit out of everyone. Everyone's already shocked, but like, oh God.
No, I know.
If it was too loud, it would be comedic.
Yes, but that's the thing. This is supposed to be a very old landmine. The landmines back then were loud.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be comedic and also not supposed to be.
Yes, loud. But it just made a poof and just let out some smoke.
Yeah, because it's not supposed to be a real landmine. They're fake, or if they are real, they're supposed to be not as explosive because they're supposed to be adding them at their effects, like at visual effects. That's what they do.
That's what I mean. They didn't add any sound effects for the landmine.
They aren't supposed to. It's not supposed. We're not seeing the movie. We're seeing them make the movie.
Yes, but they landed on a real landmine.
It might have been modified. It could have been a modified landmine. It won't make as much noise.
It was not a modified landmine.
It could have been.
When he looked at the landmine, he said it was an old colonial one.
Okay, so it might not have been as loud back then. Who knows? Our only reference is movies, and movies make them louder, so we wouldn't know about the movies.
You never heard an explosion before?
I heard explosion, but I haven't heard an explosion from an old Colombian landmine.
It's not Colombian.
You said Colombian.
No, it's not Colombian. I said colonial.
Oh, colonial. That's why I said colonial.
Anyway, one thing that didn't make sense either was the fact that there was a panda in Vietnam.
Huh. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, they mentioned that they went on site to Vietnam to actually make the movie when they were doing the report on it when they missed the shot with all the explosions. And then when that scene came up, I was like, wait a second. Pandas are native to China, which is further away. So how is it that one ended up here in Vietnam? And they're endangered. So I failed to see like how they would just let it wander off so far away from its natural habitat.
It's a joke.
No, I know it's a joke. It was just confusing because the fact that pandas don't travel that far. Anyways,
that's a joke.
Yes, I know. That's what I just said. I know it's a joke.
Hold on.
I was just wondering about that.
So, any other notes?
Let's see. I noticed when the scene where they did the ambush with Danny McBride and the fake veteran. I forgot what his name was, but they call him Four Leaf.
Yeah.
When it first happened, and he shows his hands. When I first saw that when I was younger, I thought that he was like dropping off something for that group. I thought he was like turning traitor or something like that. Because it's like this big reveal that he actually didn't lose his hand. So I was like, wait, was he actually in the war, but he actually sided with the enemy to actually get his freedom back or something like that?
He said it was Coast Guard, didn't he?
Yeah, he said it was Coast Guard.
But there are some veterans that didn't really get to be in the main action, but still, I don't know.
That's the thing. Even if he wasn't in the army, but he was still in a branch of a military, he would have had formal training. So it's not that much different from the army.
Sure, buddy.
What?
With stuff I don't know how to understand, I'm just gonna say sure, buddy, because I don't really know how to agree with. I don't know what to say about it.
This movie also got me wondering about the relationship between actors and their agents, because we see the relationship between Pecker and Speedman.
That's always been a thing in real life, though. Sometimes they're considered best friends, but also sometimes they're considered only co-workers, and I'm here to help you with the job.
Yeah. I don't really see much of that besides with managers that just take advantage of the actors to make money, to make a profit off of them, or ones that are just like this. This is the only movie I've seen where they actually have a friendly relationship.
Yeah, you know, Ben Stiller was actually gonna play the agent, the one when originally Keanu Reeves was gonna play, and they were gonna have. Well, no, first off, Owen Wilson was originally supposed to play the role of
Agent
Rick Peck, yes. But he,
I could totally see that, because when he first came on screen, I was like, why does he look so much like Owen Wilson?
Yeah, but he had to say no to the project because he was hospitalized after attempted suicide. Yeah, so then they got Matthew McConaughey, and the rest is history.
I found it funny when he said, "Please don't fire me," and he ran off.
Everyone was just Matthew McConaughey is one of my favorite characters in the movie because he's just so well attended. Except for one scene where he did something really mean, but it was when you see him talking, saying,
Hey, how's the adoption thing coming, buddy?
Not too great. Feel like all the good ones are gone.
You see a little kid with a knife in his hand, but then he's like, and Matthew McConaughey's like,
well, at least you get to choose yours.
It was so f***ed up. And what else? Okay, so let's talk about Simple Jack.
What about it?
What do you think of Simple Jack and what it represented?
I'm not sure what he represented.
Really?
Yeah.
They mentioned it multiple times. They said that Simple Jack...
Representation of mentally disabled people in movies?
Yes. And how the Oscars and how actors are trying to clout chase or like try to hop on a bandwagon that's not something you should be hopping on.
I'm not sure if it says they shouldn't do it. When they had the conversation with Kirk Lazarus and Tugg Speedman, when they were having the conversation, he said not to go full into the character and actually be retarded. Whereas don't go full, as he says it, don't go full retard, I guess. It's really weird to say it out loud. But it was more about keeping characters relatable by not going too deep into the character, but keeping a certain aspect of yourself to put into the character so that it's more relatable to the audience.
That is one of my favorites. Huh?
They didn't really talk about how you shouldn't act this way or how you shouldn't do those kinds of roles. They were talking about like how to put on a performance that connects to the audience.
Right, where it doesn't portray you as stupid, but portrays you as different in a way.
No, yeah.
Like, you know, as after this movie came out, we haven't had that many movies like this. Those type of movies anymore. Because yeah, they've been a problem for a long time in Hollywood. Even like in the early 2000s with, remember Radio?
No.
Oh, well, that one, you know, I'm not going to mention that one. Funny enough, in the movie, they mentioned I Am Sam and how Sean Penn tried it and it failed.
Never go full retard. You don't buy that? Yeah, Sean Penn, 2001, I Am Sam. Remember? Went full retard. Went home empty-handed.
Funny enough, I watched that movie in school. I think it was middle school. But before the movie started, the teacher said the main character reminded him of me. And after I saw the beginning of the movie, I'm like, oh my God. Oh, that's what he meant by that. That same teacher also voted for Trump. Anyway, so what else is going on?
That was a weird segue.
I'm just saying fact. So I got some notes. This time watching it, did it remind you of Madagascar a little bit?
A little bit, but I think that's just due to the aspect that they were dropped into a jungle and not knowing how to do what they were doing.
And with Ben Stiller in it too, as the main lead. Okay, what else? Jay Baruchel's character is the only one with no arc. The most he has in the movie is being the straight person, just stopping fights and helping be the middleman in situations. And what else? There's also two scenes in the movie where he just straight up, we're walking in the middle of a field and he just mentioning like, you know the difference between Blu-rays and DVDs and PS3s and how the format works. I'm like, everyone's just saying, shut the fuck up. I related too much for that scene with that scene because I was told by a lot of people that exact same thing, including you, Sergio. What else? We didn't even talk about Tom Cruise in the movie. He was one of the best parts in it.
Yeah, I talked about him earlier, saying how I liked his role.
Oh, yeah. There's rumors that he's supposed to come out with the new. They're like him and the director of the new Mission Impossible movies are supposed to do a Les Grossman movie. Would you want to see that?
I don't know who Les Grossman is.
The studio executive that Tom Cruise played.
Okay. They're going to do a Les Grossman movie?
Yeah. Would you see it?
I would be interested in seeing that, yes. Because it's just, he's so extra in that role that it's funny seeing him on screen. But I don't know if I could see an entire movie about that. Sounds exhausting.
I agree with you, man. Honestly, sometimes some things don't need explaining.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What?
Oh, I just realized the end of the movie is like the beginning of the movie. Like them going to go save Ben Stiller because Ben Stiller is playing the army guy that the movie is based off of.
Wait. You just noticed that?
No, I know.
You know, I'm not gonna even dive into it. I'm not gonna do anything.
What?
Just
no.
keep going.
No. Wait. No. Get back to that. What were you gonna say? What were you gonna say if I did? If I did actually not cash that until now, what would you have said?
I thought it was obvious because the fact is they went scene by scene where he comes out from the rubble and gets shot a bunch and does the same pose and lands in the same position. And then Lazarus comes out saying, "Cover me," and he runs to him. It's the same thing that they do when they are showing the beginning scenes of the movie.
Sometimes you don't catch obvious things until you see it a couple of times.
I caught it during my first watch.
I got it on my first watch. I'm sorry if I see movies first time and know everything about it.
I mean, yeah, it's obvious. It's in your face. It's not something you have to really. It's not something you can't catch if you don't.
I see it now.
Watch it.
Well, I see it now.
Yeah.
God, you really know how to make someone feel stupid for not seeing something that obvious.
I mean, because it's obvious.
Not always. Sometimes if you're looking through a needle in a haystack, you might even realize the whole haystack is needles.
Why would you be looking for a needle in a haystack that's made up entirely of needles when you can obviously see there's a bunch of needles?
But they're disguised as hay. Like they're the same color as hay and everything. So you can't tell until you look back like, oh my God, it's all hay. It's been here the whole time. I didn't see that. I was to be looking for the small little thing. I didn't even see this big thing is literally the thing I'm looking at.
Why would it be disguised as hay?
God, Sergio, I'm making a hypothetical.
Yes, but the thing is that it's very obvious that this is what they were going for.
Yeah, I get that now. I see it. It's right in front of me.
And it's a copy and paste, so that makes no sense that it would be disguised as hay.
You make no sense if you disguise as hay. So
the analogy makes no sense.
You make no sense. It made perfect sense when I explained it, but now you're making me feel like I'm an idiot because I'm explaining it too much.
Well, because the analogy doesn't make sense because you're saying that the needles would be disguised as hay. The needles would be disguised as hay, but this is not disguised as anything because it's a clear cut and paste.
It makes perfect sense.
Really?
Yes.
So you're saying that you didn't get the comparison because it was disguised?
No, because it wasn't. I was to be looking for these small details. I didn't notice the bigger picture was the thing I should have been looking at.
What were you looking at?
The production value, all the things, acting. Shut up. Fuck you. Oh, God. We need to do our rating.
Go ahead.
I think we can both know. I think we both know where our answer is going to be for our rating.
Go ahead.
We'll say it at the same time, okay? On 3. No, yes. 1, 2, 3. 5 out of 5. Yeah, see? We both said it at the same time. 5. And all right, let's go into trivia. So did you know that Ben Stiller said that nearly all aspects of the Les Grossman character were developed by Tom Cruise, including the dancing, the look, the makeup? Stiller said that in addition to the more obvious makeup effects applied to Tom Cruise, his face and his head, and the extra hair on his chest and arms, Cruise also decided to play the character wearing oversized prosthetic hands.
Oh yeah, I know about that.
Okay, well, did you know this?
Yeah, he wore an entire fat suit and covered it with hair, and then did the whole thing like that. It looks like he was having a whole lot of fun with it.
Yeah, this movie has one of the best end credit scenes for any movie, hands down.
Oh yeah,
just him dancing. Get back, motherfuckers! You don't know me like that. What else? As part of a promotional tie-in, the Booty Sweat energy drink seen in the movie was actually available for a limited time on Amazon.
Makes sense.
Sergio, would you drink Booty Sweat?
No.
Would you eat a busted nut bar?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't want to.
What if someone asks you, like, hey, man, I got some extra Booty Sweat in the fridge. You want some? I can put some Booty Sweat on ice.
Would you?
No.
Oh, really?
Nah, I'm good. I don't want to have booty sweat in my mouth.
Is that it?
No. I was thinking when they said that Kirk Lazarus won 5 Academy Awards, I had to look up how many times an actor won Academy Awards. And turns out no one has 5 Academy Awards for acting.
Really?
Yeah. The one that's closest is Katharine Hepburn. She holds the most records for most Oscars ever won with 4.
Ooh.
Yeah. And that's it. I think we can call it an episode. This was actually a fun one.
Makes sense. This was a very fun movie.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next episode. I'm Chance.
I'm Sergio.
And have a cinematic day. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening. And be sure to subscribe to our channel and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok at Brick Wall Cinema. Have a cinematic day.